Do you guys remember who did the narration at the very beginning?
I did. Space Ace, defender of justice, truth, and the planet Earth. I'm just kidding. I didn't do it.
You're still doing it.
Welcome, friends and fans, to another episode of GalaxyCon Live, where we are bringing the convention experience directly to you. And today, we are going back to the arcades of the 80s with 6 of the cast and creators of Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. So without further ado, let's drop some quarters and bring them out. Our first guest, her body of work includes All Dogs Go to Heaven, Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, and The Secret Lives of Waldo Kitty. Today, she joins us as an animator on Space Ace and the voice of Kimberly. Please welcome Lorna Cook.
Hey, everybody. Great to be here.
Hello. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing in your part of the world?
I'm doing good. I'm here in Los Angeles. Beautiful day. Things are well. So no complaints.
It's nice here in Florida as well. I threw in part of your Filmation body of work. Now, did I read correctly that you also worked on Filmation's Star Trek series?
You know, I worked on a couple of episodes. Not a lot per se, but you kind of moved around from episode to episode. It was Lassie or,
Yeah.
So it was one of those things. Yeah, but
Filmation was a factory. At least that's what I've heard.
It was.
But you worked on Star Trek, so as a big Star Trek fan, I must thank you for your contribution to the mythology that I bow to every day.
And anything to help,
Well, thank you very much. The Federation appreciates your contribution. Thank you. Our next guest, their body of work includes the Iron Giant, Flash Gordon, and Agents of Project Blue Book. Today joins us as an animator of Space Ace and the voice of the adult ace himself. Please welcome Jeff Etter.
Oh, hey, thanks. And no applause, save it for the end. It's great to be here, and it's great to see Lorna. Here we are on the Brady Bunch, or,
Yeah.
Are we on Star Trek or Hollywood Squares? Okay.
Something like that. Well, as long as you don't get hit by the Infanto ray, right?
Thank you. I might have been a long time ago already.
Indeed. Jeff, how are you doing in your part of the world?
So far, so good. I wear a mask and try to stay, away from those kind of problems. I'm doing my own productions as well. Lorna's busy, but so I'm retired and get a pension and I get retirement, but I'm still animating on paper though. But anyway,
it's great.
Right on. Well, glad to have you here. And our next guest, their body of work includes The Secret of NIMH, Winnie the Pooh, and Fantasia 2000. Today, she joins us as an animator on Dragon's Lair and the voice of Princess Daphne. Please welcome Vera Pacheco.
Save me!
Oh, Vera, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Oh, thank you for joining us here today.
I'm glad to finally meet you. It's wonderful.
Oh, indeed. You got, let's see, you got Lamb for Time behind you. And
yeah.
What's
Banjo the Woodpile Cat. And then I have, there's American Tail and all of us leaving in the truck in our New York Times article when we all got together and formed a studio. So, and there's back there is Lorna and I, Kimberly and Daphne together working
many years ago.
Oh,
and
very nice.
We're still stuck like glue.
Well, then it's very, very glad that both you are attached, and very glad to have both of you here today. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
And our next guest,
Seattle.
all right. And next guest, these credits include Chicken Little, The Road to El Dorado, and The Page Master. Today joins us as an assistant director on Dragon's Lair and the voice of Dirk the Daring himself. Please welcome Dan Molina.
Hey,
all right.
What's going on?
Hey,
Patty, I got to say two things, right? The first one is, anyway, sorry. No, that's going to come up. You still do the but the second thing I gotta say, whoever wrote the comment out there that Dirk sounds like a girl, that was mean, hurtful, and absolutely true.
And true.
Dan, I am so sorry for all the times I killed you in the 80s.
Oh, Daddy, come save me.
I kept hitting sword when I should have dodged. I'm sorry. I was
We had a system in the studio down below. Of course, we didn't have to pay, with any quarters. And I was one of the people who was tasked to help figure out the what we called nodes back then, right? The little windows that you can move the joystick. So
yeah.
It was cheating, but I did get through the game.
Oh,
You're one of the rare ones.
You had the
rare
map.
ones, but we'll get to that in a second, though. We'll bring out our rest of our guests. Our next guest is a prolific animator, producer, and screenwriter whose body of work includes Pete's Dragon, Atlantis, The Lost Empire, and The Simpsons movie. If you were with us an hour and a half ago, you would have seen us our previous panel. Today, he joins us in his capacity as an animator on Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. Please welcome back John Pomeroy.
Hey guys, good to be back.
Yay,
I know, it's been so long.
Hey!
Hey! You spent the last panel advertising this panel.
Yes, yeah, and it was fun. What a great reunion! All the cast members from American Tail and Land Before Time. Wow.
Absolutely, and now we got the video game gang back. Yeah, video game gang back. Yeah, that's hard to say. All right, our final guest. He is a producer, director, and animator. His body of work includes Anastasia, Titan AE, and All Dogs Go to Heaven. Today, he joins us as the producer of Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. Please welcome back Gary Goldman.
Hey.
Hey,
Hello.
Again.
Gary.
We're back.
I know.
All right.
I know. It's been so long. Well, gentlemen and ladies, thank you all for joining us today. As always, we here at GalaxyCon are looking forward to the time when the world does get a little bit back to normal and we can once again host yourselves and guests like you on our physical stages and get you back in front of your fans. But in the meantime, we have this electronic forum and we're so glad to have you all here today.
It's great.
Thank
it really is.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. All right.
I was going to say, I've got to say, did you see, John, that poster right behind you? The original artwork, did you see what it went for in auction?
Yes.
I didn't. What did it go for?
$54,000.
Oh,
I think it was
John.
John. I think
Didn't run DS. We didn't run
John is
DS.
a friend, when
Do they give any kickbacks to the cleanup artist on it?
No.
They have his number.
Neil Adams on the comic side of things, he was really trying to get a movement going where every time original art passed hands, that the original artists or their estate should get like a 5 or 10% cut. And I was like, I really support that idea. I really thought that should be a part of the equation, but I lack the power. I lack the power to do such things. But what you all had the power to do was create a moment, not only in animation history, but video game history. Dragon's Lair and Space Ace are both talked about in terms of everyone I know that teaches modern day video game design, which is very prevalent among young people nowadays. This was a Rosetta Stone in the history of video games, pushing narrative focus as opposed to action focus, in terms of choice as opposed to action and much button mashing. Yeah. And they were both so damn fun to play. Like I said at the beginning, I dropped many players on this.
Is there a champion Space Ace player? Is somebody beat everybody in the world?
I mean,
is there the best chess player?
Well, I'm not sure. Since it's a one-way trip.
It's not Jeopardy or something.
There's not a way you could do it on time. It might be a way to do it on time. I don't know. You guys worked in the game. You tell me.
Well,
it'd be great to see if we could get it going again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask this.
Don't people play Space Ace at home?
Yeah, they do.
They can now. Yeah.
On their phone, on their app.
Yeah. Is that what you think of all the time, Jeff?
I was just wondering if there's a championship person that plays, but everybody's playing anyway. So I just wondered if there's some contest someplace or somewhere where people play.
I think as far as the original platform goes, since it was a solo one journey type thing, the only way you could be a champion is maybe on time. I guess that's
what I meant, like on time. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be you kicked it a certain amount of time. So just the quick things to it. So I don't know if we have anybody in our audience who wants to chime in on that. Let us know. What I would love to know in the meantime is how did this concept originally evolve? Was it the case of somebody on your side, the animation side, said let's make a video game, or did someone from the video game industry reach out to say we want to do a cartoon video game? Can you guys build it for us? Where excited to be?
It was Rick Dyer. There's a man named Rick Dyer. He was younger than us. He was like 27 years old, and he was just sort of a nerd, but a good nerd. And he had just seen The Secret in Him and said, and he found our number and called us and said, can I come and meet you? And told us all the story. And we were in Secret in Him, cut everything off. The union put everybody, we had to get out of the building we were in, or not us, but most of the crew. And we were sitting there going, okay, what's going to happen to us?
Oh, gosh, I remember that. Yeah.
And when we did this meeting with this guy, he kept, talking things like this. And the three of us, we were just nod our head. Didn't know what the heck he was talking about.
Wow.
So, okay, yeah, we can do it.
Gary, what made the whole thing possible, though, was the technology, the laser disc. Now, was that Pioneer or Philips at the time?
Pioneer, I believe.
It was Pioneer.
Okay, so that allowed us to do interactive storytelling. We were able to allow gameplay to be an interactive movie for the first time ever. Up until that point, what you were experiencing was Nolan Bushnell's Pong, where digital bot was going back and forth. I'm not sure if Pac-Man was happening at that time, so we have a disc.
I think so, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was the state of the art back then. For this thing, this was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And the arcade owners, when it first came out, the arcade owners were turning their arcades into theater venues. Velvet cord and ropes. We were supplying them with lobby cards, posters, merchandising, memorabilia, premiums, and it just took off.
I think a lot of the arcades also had a separate screen above the game.
They did.
The crowds.
I remember that. Yeah.
It was very much one of the very first spectator games, in the sense that, some kid could do good at Asteroids or Pac-Man or whatever, but it was a little boring or whatever. It wasn't until Donkey Kong came along and the kill screens and stuff. But you would huddle around, especially if there was a kid who was good at it.
Right.
Who could go deeper than anybody else had at some point. He's on the Lizard King level. What? I've never even seen that. You see it at the beginning.
Yeah, all those levels. I just remember looking at all the storyboards that Gary and John and Don and Lorna, where they were all setting up all the storyboards and lining them up down the hall. And I thought, how are we going to get all those drawings done to go down all those levels and up and down all those levels? I was just blown away.
We figured out a good reuse cycle system.
Yeah,
we had working for us, because if an animator created a run from left to right, we can flip it, reuse it the other way. If an animator was creating a three-quarter run, we would reuse that. So much of the gameplay was designed about around the economy of producing animation that we could reuse over and over and over.
John, I remember
the death notes. The death notes had to be unique, each one of them, as Danny can attest. Each one had their own separate little screech or scream or death knell.
Yeah.
I remember those cycles were set up in your room, and you had all the cycles done that we had already cleaned up, and then we would look at everything, and I'd come into your room and say, I think we're going to, pick a cycle from what you have in here. Yeah.
Even though we reused the death scenes and flopped them, I was amazed how many death scenes, or nodes we call them, right, that we did.
Yeah.
I mean,
we did a lot.
I just saw.
Oh yeah.
I saw them all strung up, and there were not only a lot of them, but they were so funny.
They were funny. That was the entertainment value of the game.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Play the game just to see the death notes.
And the look at Dirk's eye.
Yes.
You killed him.
The dead.
He was
dead
looking at
man
you.
look. Yeah.
Dragon's Lair was the first game that judged the players.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of like built that chip. Oh, I'm not letting this go. I'm putting another one in. I'm keeping going.
That's a good way of putting it, Daddy. Judge.
Yeah, it really did.
It was so clever how you guys came up with all those expressions on Dirk at the just such a surprise, and he just had such a deadpan doofus look on his face. Sorry, Danny.
This is like an original lobby card that we
wow.
we were giving out to the arcade.
Blow them up.
Yeah.
This was like a set of 6 or 8 or something.
Oh, wow.
This is theatrical
there's
quality,
the space.
ad pub promo. So it's like the arcade owners were just eating it up. And it was amazing, the impact that it had, not just on the gaming industry, but the entertainment industry as well.
You know what? One person there that's very important to us was Kim Coy.
Yes.
Our
Our publicist, yeah.
with us for the first 3 months for the end of Secret of NIMH.
She came over from Disney. So
Yes, she did.
well versed.
And she had this big book, and she could just go to any magazine, any newspaper, all across America and Canada. And she really pushed and shoved. I remember she walked into Don's office one day and she says, "Okay, I've made you a what was it? A home where every home knows who Don Bluth is."
Mm-hmm.
So, but she knew her job, and she
I
really.
just remember going to Comic-Con and sitting next to Kim, and we were in. Does anybody remember this? It was an electrical storm.
Oh, yes, I remember that, Lorna. We were all flying down there. Yeah.
I'd look over.
By the way, guys, we lost Kim in 2014.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, goodness.
She was only 67.
Oh, geez.
Oh,
That's a shame.
Really good egg, really good, team player. But we were kind of holding hands on that flight. It was.
Wow. I've been in a few bumpy ones myself. So out of curiosity, since everyone was working behind the scenes at boards and various technical aspects, how did those of us today who had voice roles? How did you get these roles?
oh, yeah. Go, Danny.
In my case, I think
They were employees.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, tap on the shoulder and said, "Do you want to do this?"
You didn't have to get an agent.
Yeah.
There was no one else in the part of Dirk. There was no one else stupid enough, and play the fool. So really, actually, though, I never intended though for the voice to be the final voice. We needed something to animate to, and as time went on, it just seemed to be. One of these things, what we call temp love in the industry, right? This temporary you have, and at the very end of it, I think
I've been there. Trust me.
Yeah. So they just decided to go ahead and keep it. So, but never in a million years did I ever think that that would be one of the roles, right, or the things in my career that people. I'm telling you, every 2 months, 3 months, before the pandemic, someone would knock on my door, open up, and they go, "Did you do the voice of Dirk the Daring?"
Danny, are you kidding? That's great.
It was the FedEx guy.
To this day, actually, earlier this week, there's a guy named Johnny. I think he's out there, and Johnny got a hold of my son's. He was a friend of my son's friend. Got a hold of me and said, "Hey, can we have a Zoom?" And I was talking to him, and he was just floored. But that you're the voice of Dirk the Daring, and the guy in his own right, he's really accomplished. But to him, Dragon's Lair it was his childhood. Right?
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's funny. I've been to so many Comic Cons. Disney cast members will come up to me. And they'll come, look skulking in front of me, looking over their shoulder, and they say, "John, can you do a drawing for me? Princess Daphne." Disney cast member.
That's great. Are you kidding me? Oh.
Oh yeah.
John and Gary, I remember when you guys walked into our room with Lorna there, and Jeff, were you in the room at the time? Secret and M, were you rooming with us yet, or?
Yeah, he came from
Yeah,
upstairs.
Yeah, I really remember.
And you guys came in and said, we want you to do something for us. We're going to try you out. We're going to try your voice out. And I don't even think you had the name for Princess Daphne yet when we were first doing it.
Yeah, could be.
At first. But then I just remember, John, you were just doing these amazing drawings, and Don would look at your drawings and Gary would look at the drawings. And I think it was Gary, he'd say, your voice, it needs to be sexier. As you guys were recording me. And
nobody could get to your decibel, Vera. Nobody could.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yes.
I'm not sure I
Playboy
can.
magazines on up in the attic for Don to use.
Vera, the only thing higher than your speaking voice as Daphne was when you sneezed.
Oh, yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, actually my sneeze has been in a couple little animated films too, but my Daphne, yeah. So when I would do my Daphne voice, I would think about my sneeze, and then all the amazing drawings that John and Don were doing, and all the poses that sometimes, John, I remember you called me into your room and you had a little shelf that was next to on the back side of your desk. And you said, I'm having a little trouble with this pose. And I'd get up on that shelf and you'd make me do and you'd make me do the Daphne pose for you.
You're my live action reference.
Yeah. And here I am, this little skinny, dark haired girl. And you were turning that pose into this beautiful, voluptuous Daphne. It was hilarious.
Worked.
And of course, Gary would be in the background just laughing all the time.
I do enjoy seeing your character cosplayed at the physical shows, which I've seen many times over the years.
Oh goodness.
John and Gary, I wanted to know this for the past 30 some odd years. How come Vera got all the speaking parts? Dirk, go ahead.
You were just the big silent type.
Dirk says one word. He says one thing in the game. Do you guys know what that is?
Oh my goodness. All I'm glad about is that I didn't turn out looking like Dirk's mother-in-law in Dragon's Lair 2.
So Danny, what was the one word?
At the very end of the game, he sees Daphne and he goes, Daphne.
That's right. Yeah. All right. That's right. Well, again, so few of us actually got to the end as much as we tried.
Sorry.
No. It was a quest I finally completed on the home version. So, Lorna and Jeff, how did you fall into the voices on Space Ace?
Oh.
Well, I think the crew, when I got hired there, I'm working there, and I think the crew would make fun of the way I talked.
Oh no, we didn't do that.
I'm not talking about you personally, but I'm going to have your. We'll talk to you later. And one morning I came to when I would be there, they'd open up early and I would be able to get in. And John just came up to me and said, "Would you do this?" And I said, "Okay, I guess." I mean, it was, and I didn't really understand what he meant. And he says, "Well, I'll talk to you later about this." And so we made this, and they wrote it, and I was able to do it, and enjoyed doing it. A lot of cocaine
for the part. You were perfect for the part.
There was a dry delivery to your lines, which worked perfect for us.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Well, you can blame Don Bluth. He's the director. He told me what to do, and so we did.
Now, didn't Don do the voice of Borf, Gary?
Yeah.
Surrender.
He was distorted, of course.
Yeah.
He doesn't really talk like that. Don Bluth doesn't sound like that.
No, it doesn't.
What's the right amount of distortion, right, Danny?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And John and Gary, I don't know if you remember this, you and Don, myself, I think we were also, we were the Mudmen.
Oh, that's right.
I guess they would march around.
I remember, didn't Dave Spafford do some little sound effects? It was like kind of like, just,
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he would do those sounds normally, but you guys just used
anyway.
so Lorna, how did you get tapped for your role? Were you just in the right place at the wrong time? Lorna, what are you doing right now? Come here.
I don't know if Don just said let's hear all the women at the studio. Let's take have a couple of auditions, but honest to goodness, I think we actually recorded all of those lines pretty quickly, maybe in 1 or 2 sessions, if I recall, over there on Formosa Street.
Right.
Somehow I remember that. But
wow,
You got me.
memories, yeah.
But Lorna, a little backstory here. The reason why your voice was chosen, I know that they said, let's go ahead, but the term, there's a certain assertiveness to her voice.
Yes.
And confidence in her voice, and that's why you became her.
You knew how to rule it. Yeah.
Daphne.
I love Daphne.
Yeah, Daphne and Kimberly are they're both damsels in distress, more or less, but they do have a little different.
Yeah, just the opposites. Yeah. Although we're both really strong, smart women.
Absolutely.
Daphne and Kimberly both. Daphne was just
Working
hiding it a little bit, yeah.
Working.
In her bra, yeah.
I did. Hey, our producer let me know we're good to go to audience questions, so let's go ahead and take our first one. And this is going to come from Nicholas. Oh, what was it like visiting the arcade in the 80s?
Oh, yeah, crowded and a bunch of fans standing around waiting in line. I remember that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of excitement.
Actually, it didn't start in most of the arcades that featured Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. Lines were out the door. So you would have lines going out the door and clear around the block with people standing there with stacks of quarters. So I mean, it's like it was like like going to a Boffo box office theater experience.
With red rugs and and gold things,
cordon ropes, and the whole bit.
I remember that. Yeah.
People would show up. They would come in dressed as Dirk the Daring and Princess Daphne. The guy one of the guys, a friend of mine who was the director on Atlantis: The Lost Empire over Disney, Kirk Wise. Yeah. There's pictures of him at 19 years old, dressed up as Dirk the Daring.
Perfect.
Oh, wow. I remember that.
He handmade his own costume.
Yes. And then when we started working together at Disney, and I told him I was Daphne, he just blushed like you couldn't believe.
I died for you over and over.
It was really fun listening to people's comments though while we were playing. Someone was playing the game, and just listening to everybody who had just crowded around and talking about just the animation. And God, I've never seen anything like this before. It's really cool.
I remember the comments. One of the mothers approached me and said, "Why do you have to charge 50 cents? We're going through so many quarters."
Right.
All these quarters, back then, that was a big deal. 50 cents.
It was.
Yeah, it was an expensive game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you had a full laser displayer built into it as well.
We were get letters said that I feel bad because I've stolen money from my father's pants.
Oh, I remember those letters, Gary. You would tell us about those.
Do you guys remember who did the narration at the very beginning?
I did. Space Ace, defender of justice, truth, and the planet Earth. I'm just kidding. I didn't do it.
He's still doing it.
On Dragon's Lair, do you guys remember Gary Owens? Gary Owens.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yes.
Did the narration.
Did he really? Yep. Oh my gosh, from Laugh-In.
From that, yeah. And then
Oh, wow.
Laugh-In, Space Ghost, the original voice of Space Ghost. And yeah.
No kidding. Wow.
Gary Owens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This just in, the Eiffel Tower is not made of Eiffel. You know?
Gary, who was our guy who was the composer? Stone?
Yeah. Chris Stone.
Chris Stone.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right.
He did a great job. I was just listening to the whole game off of YouTube, and I'm amazed how infectious that music is. It's like it's a world of laughter. You're like,
Oh,
oh man, it's in my head.
it
And it's really fun. It's really fun to hear just as a track.
it sticks in your head.
And,
Yeah.
and by the way, Gary, what was I couldn't believe how fast our scenes were. Dan, what was the average length of our scenes? Like 24 frames, 12 frames?
Some
I mean, it
of
was
them were like
amazing.
12
Yeah,
frames, I remember
some of them
that.
are like 12 or 16 frames. Yeah, fast.
Never much longer than that, unless it was dialogue, right?
And I was thinking about that actually,
God, I
Jeff. I thought that's how we got through it. So
Well,
Did we
there
get it done on time?
Right.
Wasn't there a schematic that Rick Dyer and his staff would deliver to Don, and based on the schematic of the nodes, he would start to board, correct? Do you remember that, Gary?
Right.
completely changed though.
Well,
Yes.
it would show kind of a, like it was look like a circuit board, with all these little lines going off every which way, and it was
I remember that.
It was a
Yeah.
branch system that would show the schematic of the nodes and where they would go. So based on that, he had to interpret that into his storyboarding.
Wow.
I mean, we had a system down basically from working on Secret of NIMH. We just were able to blast through a lot of product very quickly because we had a very well-oiled machine. Danny Molina, Vera, Lorna, and Don with storyboarding.
We had such a John, you're so right. We had such a well-oiled crew that I just remember thinking, how are we going to make our footage goals when Gary comes in with his clipboard? When I'm doing 12 frame scenes, and then the next one is 16 frames, and we had to do a hell of a lot of scenes to try to make our footage goals.
Oh yeah,
but it was just, and everybody was just, they were just right on cue.
And then with all the temperamental artists that we had to work with, Vera, you remember Philo Barnhart?
Oh yes. Oh, I know.
Philo did all the keys.
Yes.
Most of the keys on purpose, Daphne.
Yes.
Yeah.
And your drawings, John, were all you had to do practically was dust them off. They were so beautiful. But Philo just enhanced them, and he did an amazing job on your stuff. And I just remember the whole cleanup crew, they were just so into it. Once they figured out what we were doing and what our end goal was going to be, I just remember everybody was so jazzed about it.
Yeah.
And it got us out of from the union there for a minute. So we could bring us all back because we sat down and talked with what was his name? He was in D-Wing at Disney, but he was then our boss at
Bud Hester.
Headbuster. No, Bud Hester.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
And so we said, we did a dialogue with him and said we want to bring our people back in, and we're doing it for a game. And he said, well, you can, because we're not in that game.
A funny, interesting.
So we got to go, but we didn't have any money.
I
We had
remember.
no money. We had been shut off from east of sun, west of the moon.
Yeah.
Oh,
And there we were.
Lorna, remember when we would make our pizza bagels that we were so desperate we had no money in the tough rock.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Hey, I had pizza bagels for dinner last night.
Hey, interesting story, guys. Gary, you remember we went and took some of the footage, the brand new color footage, to Steven Spielberg. We already had like a 2-hour meeting, a luncheon meeting with Steven. He had saw Secret of NIMH, and he came over to the to our studio in Studio City in his Porsche.
Oh, I remember that day.
Blessed with success with E.T., but he saw Secret of NIMH and he was blown away. He came over to our studio. We had lunch together, I mean, we cut our wrists and we became blood brothers. And we said, hey, if I can find the right project, I want you guys to do it. We're going to partner on a feature film. Well, a few months after that, once we got onto production on Dragon's Lair, we took some of the footage. Gary, you and I, we walked into his office. We put some of the footage on his Moviola or whatever, and he played a couple of the death notes. And his first comment was, "Oh my gosh, I think I've got that scene in Temple of Doom."
Oh, no.
Filming his next episode of Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom.
Wow.
Oh, God. That's great. What
Wow.
memories, huh?
It was exciting. He got
Great
excited.
memories.
He's saying, "This is going to be an arcade. This is fantastic."
Wow, and indeed it was. Nicholas, thank you. It was a great question to start us off with. And as a kid in those arcades, I'll tell you, it was as close to heaven as a 12-year-old in the 80s could get. And I'll leave it at that. And let's go ahead and roll another one. This comes from Dylan. Ooh, what was your favorite cartoon growing up? This should be interesting.
Bugs Bunny.
Mine was anything that probably Warner Brothers was doing in terms
Bugs
of,
Bunny,
Oh.
Daphne.
Yeah.
and
I like
probably
Johnny Quest. Johnny
And
Quest.
Daffy
Johnny
Duck.
Quest.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
Loved
Lord.
it.
Any
great title, Johnny Quest.
What was the one that in the early 50s that was not on long, but it was for 3 or 4 years, and it was a rabbit. It was called
Crusader Rabbit.
Crusader,
Crusader Rabbit?
Crusader Rabbit.
Yeah. I remember
Crusader
No.
Rabbit. Yeah.
Oh, wasn't that on Sheriff John?
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
that was my lunchtime.
And
Yeah.
Rag the Tiger.
Rags the Tiger.
Crusader.
Raglan T. Tiger, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
It was a rabbit, and it was Crusader Rabbit. Crusader Rabbit. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crusader Rabbit.
No,
Yeah.
It was a J word. It was a J word. The first thing.
And it was all black. It was all. It only was 5 minutes.
Black and white. Yeah.
Or even- maybe it's only 2. I don't know, but it was every day, weekday. You'd get it, and it was. And I thought it was.
That's
Wonderful.
great.
I think I was 6.
You guys
You know,
remember?
I love the Coyote and Roadrunner, and some of
Oh, yeah.
those
Oh, yeah.
deadpan shots of the Coyote just remind me of some of the deadpan faces that Dirk made. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys remember those 3 bears in the Chuck Jones?
Oh, I love those bears, Dan.
oh, what to be?
My paw.
I love them. Those,
Oh, and the biggest bear was the biggest baby. Yeah, I remember that.
Junior Bear. Junior Bear.
Yeah.
And your father was always getting pommeled. I don't want to set everyone over.
Yeah, he was.
Put shoes on.
I don't want to do it. Yeah.
It was like, you know, of mice and men, except with bears. Yeah.
Funny.
Out of curiosity, was anyone a Clutch Cargo fan?
Oh gosh,
yeah.
that's great with those mouths.
It was funny. Looking at like the mouths floating around.
Yeah.
I would be on the floor rolling with laughter. I loved that show. Yeah.
I actually, there was a guy. Mona, do you remember Kay Wright? He actually worked on Clutch Cargo.
He was my roommate at Filmation. I was his roommate.
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
And
What
and-
memories, huh?
He was a really cool guy. But he worked on Clutch Cargo.
Yeah.
You know, those early 60s cartoons from Hanna-Barbera, did you ever notice that there was always the tall character and the small character?
Oh yeah.
So they could reuse Boo Boo as Baba Louie with Quick Draw.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, you know, it's I thank Hanna-Barbera for keeping the pilot light on for animation.
And they did.
And
And they
yes.
And they did, you know.
And contributed. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
They're all iconic moments.
I got my first job there.
I love the Jay Ward cartoons.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
Jay Ward. Oh.
fractured fairy tales.
Very not many people know.
Fractured fairy tales, tobacco leaf pies.
And they always deliver the lines. I killed 2 birds with 1 stone.
And then and then the cartoon characters that had J for a middle name because of Jay Ward. Remember that?
Yeah. I always know I find a kinder's spirit when something weird happens, and I say, "There's something you don't see every day, Chauncey." And if they say, "What's that, Edgar?" Well, oh, hey, you get that? Okay. All right, you're cool. Yeah. You're cool. I can be friends with you. Dylan, thank you. I think we have time for one more quick one. So let's see if we can go on a really fun one from Casey. Ooh, do you have, I'll say any merch or any mementos or any art or anything you're fond of from either Space Ace or Dragon's Lair?
Well, let's see. We've got the poster.
Yes, we do.
We've got the
I've moved so much.
card. Did we? I mean, there's the limited edition maquettes, the statues from Enchanted Tiki of Daphne and Kimberly.
That's great, Vera.
There's the art.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, there's still a few of those left.
I have some cells framed.
Wow, nice.
Oh, you ain't giving away them from those though.
I got some of the original drawings.
Yeah.
Drawings.
I've actually got some of Don's early sketches, his first designs for some of the creatures in Time Warp.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually posted those
great.
Like last month, a couple of months ago. So it was an interesting process because he would go through and just start designing. Every node seemed to have a different little creepy character that would attack Ace or Dirk. So all those things, it was like probably 30 different characters.
Wow.
Were designed by him for like a complete, series of nodes for Space Ace of Dragon's Lair. And I had the little sketches of Beethoven and his cat, his little pet cat, Carl.
Oh, wow.
And then Don would do like 5 or 6 different poses and different angles and then throw them at me. And then I would do the model sheet based on those rough poses.
I just remember you guys were just drawing 100 miles an hour.
Just going like mad.
Oh, John, you could get through a model. You could get through a model sheet in a day. It was amazing. Yeah,
we had it down pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good. It was a wonderful, nice piece of machine. Are you still doing cleanup right now, Vera?
Well, the last cleanup I did was on the new Mary Poppins movie.
Oh,
I helped out with the sequence with all the 2D animals.
Were you working with Ken Duncan?
Ken Duncan and Juliet. Yeah, Juliet was sending me her work, and I had a ball doing those animals. Those were great. Yeah.
Awesome.
And yeah, I'm basically retired up here in Seattle, but if anything comes along, I would love to work on it.
You're looking for cleanup people on Space Jam too.
Okay.
Just saying.
Well, it can go full circle. I would love to work with you guys.
Gentlemen and ladies, this has been an absolute treat. Any final words for our audience before we go?
Save me.
Thanks for helping me take care of my kids.
Save me.
Great to be here. Dexter, you're late. Okay.
Yeah. See that they're still at it. They're still at it.
Hey.
You guys, it was a close, we had a close knit studio.
We did. It was a tight
family. Yeah.
Family.
It was family. It still is family.
Yeah. Good for you. That's right.
It has been my absolute pleasure to serve you all here today. Thank you again for joining us on the GalaxyCon virtual stage. Thank you, our audience, for joining us today. And thank you all for those great questions. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care. And please keep washing those hands.